You're young, high strung and scared, unaware of how you change the world. Doubt's the enemy. I can see you want all the answers. Trust yourself, enjoy the ride. The only way to know is to live the questions. So don't give up just yet. Your best is still to come. You're young, high strung and scared, unaware of how you change the world. I wanna see how the story ends up. I hope it doesn't end too soon, 'cause I know that the best part's still to come. If you just push on through, I wanna see the light shine through you, into everything you do, into everyone you know and love, 'cause you're living your truth. Keep on going, keep on growing, live that question. Keep on going, keep on going, keep on growing, live that question. Keep on going.
Kids are inspiring, right? And that leads me into my talk today, because I found myself in multiple conversations this week about inspiration. And one of those conversations on the surface was around the life cycle of trees, but ultimately the significance of the conversation really was around like regeneration and symbiotic relationships, right? And symbiosis is defined as a close, prolonged association between two or more different biological species where both parties involved benefit from the interaction. And so most think, to the animal kingdom, right? So you have the crocodile and the plover, which is the bird that cleans its teeth, and the shark and the pilotfish. But it made me think of my dad and our relationship, and this being Father's Day weekend, I thought that would be an appropriate topic. So to me, my dad was always and is sort of the strongest man on the planet, right? He's very tall, and being a small child, I just always saw him as a superhero. And never more so than my favorite moment of the day, which was when he would come home from work in the evening. And I would always meet him in the kitchen. And he would put down his things, and the first thing that he would do would be to let me stand on his feet while he danced with me in our kitchen. And so, as an adult, I look back and see the mutual benefit of that, the symbiosis of that particular interaction, where I felt loved and adored and the focus of his attention even for just those few moments. And for him, I think it was, a release of his day to be welcomed home into unconditional love. And I'm in awe of sort of that divine masculine, right? And that balance of strength and softness. And so I thought of that in the way that my dad has inspired me to not only stand strong, but to be flexible, to take care of my community, to show up with kindness, and all of those little pieces of fatherly advice that came along the way. And that led me to a poem, or actually it's an excerpt from a book, but Advice from a Tree by Elin Shamir. Stand tall and proud. Sink your roots deeply into the earth. Reflect the light of greater source. Embrace with joy the changing seasons. Be content with your natural beauty. Drink plenty of water. Let your limbs sway and dance in the breezes. Be flexible. Remember your roots and enjoy the view. And we'll take that into a time of prayer. Holy Heart of the universe, may we enter into this time and space with an open heart and an open mind. May we tap into the divine source that is creator of all and listen to those whispers of advice that fuel our intuition, that guide us on our path and light our way home to unconditional love. And so it is.
Maybe you woke up late, deadline to make, and you missed the train and got caught in the rain. Oh, what a pain. Maybe you just broke up with the love of your life. They had enough. Life can be rough and you want to give up, but believe in better days to come. Daylight, what a sight. The rising sun is waiting for you. So hold on tight. Hold on one more night for the blue, blue skies behind the clouds.
I did make some new jar cards up here, so if you haven't put a quote, your favorite quote, in the jar yet, you're welcome to fill out a card. This is one we know, and it's also one that that we know that we need a reminder about. I'm going to project that on you as I need a reminder, and it's simply this: be the change you wish to see in the world. You know, be that first. We like to go out there and want everything else changed first, but this is your reminder. No name on the quote. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Yes, I say yes on that one. So. Well, Allison isn't here today. Allison Bourne gave me this t-shirt to wear. It has the 4 agreements on it. That's what it says. Because I've been talking from the book, The 4 Agreements, and she was so kind to say, I have a shirt like that. You know, and she showed me a picture of it on texting, and I said, oh, I love it. She said, well, I'll bring it to you so you can wear it. So here it is. So here's the 4 Agreement shirt. So a couple weeks ago, I started off the 4 Agreements little series that I'm doing. It's such a great book. Many of you are aware of it. Some of you are not. And Don Miguel Ruiz talks about the dream that we've set up, the dream of the planet, how that everything everything outside of us is a dream. We've set up the rules. We've set up the way things are, and we carry around this book of law as if this is the way things work. And it is, because the book of law is our own personal BS, our belief system. That's what it is. So that's what we carry around, and that's how we see the world. So his idea is, well, if we've created this book of law, and we've written the book of law, and that's the book that we're carrying, that we can write something different in it as well. Is because it's a dream. It's not real. It's not reality. And I gave some examples that first Sunday about time, for instance, or the retirement in the United States means this, or all the rules that we've set up that we tend to follow. Now, I encourage you to follow the rules of the road. Those are really important for us to safely negotiate. People who say they don't trust anything, I'm like, if you drive, you have to trust. Sometimes that trust is broken, but you have to trust or we never go out there. So the first agreement was be impeccable with your word, and that's what I talked about last week. Be impeccable with your word, and what that means is to not sin against yourself, to not use the word against your own self. That's what it means. That's what it means. Yes, to not use the word. Because what happens is we use that word to poison our own mind, and we make our mind fertile for any poison that comes from anybody else. Because our mind has told us we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not skinny enough, we're too fat, we're too dumb, we're too stupid. We don't, we can't do this, we can't do that. We have our mind that is fertile for that. And that's what is not being impeccable with our word. That's the opposite of being impeccable. And the way to begin to be impeccable with your word is to accept yourself the way you are. To tell yourself, I'm good. I'm great, in fact. I'm living my best life. And begin to create a mind that is fertile to receive love, not fear. Yeah? That's what being impeccable with your word is. If you want a little more on that, it's on YouTube. You can take a listen. But here's what Ruiz says as we go into the second agreement. He said, the next three agreements are really born from the first agreement. So the first agreement is essential. And these next 3 just kind of are subheadings or out of that first one. Because the first one is tough. It takes attention and intention. The second agreement is this. People think this is the biggest one. Don't take anything personally. You ready to notice this? Don't take anything personally. Here's what he says. You take things personally because you agree to some degree or another with whatever was said. Bazinga! Like, that's a big one. That's what he's saying. For somehow you agree with something that was said. As soon as you agree, that poison goes through you. And you are trapped in the dream of hell. What causes you to be trapped is what he calls personal importance, which is this. Taking things, it is the maximum expression of selfishness because we make the assumption that everything is about me. Everything anybody else says is about me. Nothing, he said, here's the truth. Nothing other people do is because of you. Nothing other people do is because of you. It is because of themselves. It is because of their own book of law that they're carrying around, their own belief system. That's it. It has nothing to do with you or me. We don't live that way very often. We don't live that way. It's because of that. And we know words have power. I talked about the impeccability of the word. And it can really feel like it's about me. But really the truth is, and if we're able to live this, we will understand that nothing anybody ever does or says is about me. It really takes some practice and intention and attention to that, because we do take things personally. Someone calls us out for being stupid, or for instance, a predator. This week I had an awesome opportunity. I want to share with you exactly how this agreement works, because I took this personally. I mean, I took the poison, I swallowed the poison pill and followed it with a shot. And here's what happened. There was an article on Port City Daily about what's happened with our local school board. Do I need to say more? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So, there was a post that was put on the New Hanover County Schools Facebook page supporting Pride Month. And it was immediately taken down. This is what threw me off here. This is where I started taking the poison. One of the board candidates, her name is Natosha Tu, wrote on her candidate Facebook page that she would vote no to recognizing Pride Month if she was voted into office. I'm like, all right, that's her right to do that. And here's what she wrote on her Facebook page. The LGBT agenda is harming our children mentally and physically. I will absolutely not tolerate the sexualization of children, predators normalizing talking about their sexuality to children, or the delusion that comes with it. Let's protect our children, not adults preying on them. Are you kidding me? I am part of this community. I am not a predator. I am not trying to sexualize children. I am not delusional, even though I may appear to be at this moment. I mean, I was mad. Of course. Do I really believe this? No, I don't. There is no one in this community that I'm aware of who is a predator. In fact, if you go back historically with the New Hanover County Schools, the people who were accused and convicted of being predators were white men. Straight white men. Nothing against straight white men. But this comment is not about straight white men. It's about me. You see what happened? I took the poison. And instead of my mind being fertile for love toward myself, I took the poison, and not only did I take the poison, I started spewing poison. Right? That's what happens. That's what happens. Because it certainly seemed personal. It certainly seemed very personal, and I got mad about it. And then I read another article almost right after that, because I was in this mood. I was right in here taking the poison. I hadn't settled down yet. And then I had to read, and I didn't had to, then I read the article about New Hanover County School Board wanting to get involved in selection of books for the Battle of the Books. All right, I was still all whipped up. I was still poisoned. You know, you might as well had a bunch of needles stuck in me. I was poisoned up. I'm thinking, all right, you're going to reject the selections made by the North Carolina School Library Media Association because what? You're better than them? You have more experience with them? You have direct information about the harm that children have had because of the selections they've made? Like what? You can see how spun up I am about this? Here's what happened. They were talking about taking books out that touched on suicide, incarcerated parents, and children running away from home. We don't want anybody to know about any of that. No little kids have ever experienced that, so we don't want to expose them to any of those things. Like, really? One of the freshmen at New Hanover High School was at that board meeting. She said, when reading, I learned more about the real world experiences, emotions, and situations of others. That's what she's learning about. Even in the petition, this was a student petition called Stop the New Hanover County Battle of the Books Ban. It says people of all backgrounds benefit from this. It nurtures a child's empathy and emotional development, especially to those that are less fortunate than them. Yes. Oh, so I was like, yes, yes, poison, poison. But here's what a parent shared at that meeting. She spoke directly to the board members and their supporters in this regard, and she said this: what happened to you? What happened in your homes growing up? What happens in your homes now? What could possibly occur to have you be so terrified of a difficult conversation or a teaching moment with your children or grandchildren? What could have occurred for you to be so afraid of these conversations? That's a wise woman right there. That's what we should be at. That's what I should be asking. Not what's wrong with me and what's wrong with you and why you're this way, but what happened in your book? What happened to make you so afraid? You know, Paula, take it easy. Whoa, this is not about you. This is not about you. What happened in your book? See, we have to practice. We have to practice. And we can only edit our own book. We can't edit anybody else's book. You know, sorry. It's not on Google. Or you can go in on all the docs and edit it. You can't do it. That parent had an idea that I needed to hear. You know, what's in that book? What is in that book?
What was the vote?
I don't know what the result was. I don't know what the result was. Whatever you say and what you do and the opinions you have are according to the agreements that you have made. And these opinions have nothing to do with me. Whatever you think, whatever you feel, I know that it's your problem, not my problem. It is the way you see the world, and it's nothing personal because you are dealing with yourself, not with me. That's what it's about. That's what he's suggesting. It's not personal at all. Miss Tu, that's in her book. For whatever reason, it's in her book. It has nothing to do. Now, that doesn't mean that I have to believe it or agree with it. I'm just saying it's in her book. It is not about me. And it's not about any child. And it's not about me, if I'm a teacher, to have a picture of my wife on my desk. That's not what it's about. It's about what's in her book for her and what's in my book for me. That's it. That's the way it is. That's what he's saying, and I agree with it. I agree with it. And it takes practice. We have to trust ourselves. We have to trust ourselves. The great essayist, French-born writer Anais Nin says, we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. Yes. We've heard that before. Do we practice it? Do we think that, oh yeah, well, everybody else does the same thing? They don't see it as it is, they see it as they are. They see it as what is they are carrying in the book. Even when it is put directly in our face, and it's very personal, directly in our face, and it's something that we have to decide that is true or not. There was recently a Facebook post on one of my blogs, and this person said this: the premise is sound, loving kindness is sound, loving kindness is spot on, but every group, no matter what size, I submit humbly, has to have leadership and vision, otherwise people would get tired of the same stuff over and over. Another person responded to that and said, that's why we're so grateful for our fearless leader. Then the person said, she isn't leading. Now, who is this comment about? Is it about me? No, it's about this person. It's about what's in their book. I could decide, oh my God, I'm not a leader. I suck. I'm terrible. Like, what is my mind fertile for? What is my mind fertile for? This has nothing to do with me at all. Either comment. The comment that says, that's why we are so grateful our fearless leader, has nothing to do with me. Nothing. It has to do with the person who wrote it. And the comment behind it is the same. See, what we have to trust is to not let others' opinions break us down or build us up, either one. The idea is to develop trust in our own self, regardless of what anybody says. Regardless. That's what's important. That's what's important. You know, he doesn't talk about this a lot in here, but what it brought up for me is our ability to accept criticism. We don't have to be afraid of criticism. It's okay. You know, have any of you ever participated in Toastmasters? Okay. Toastmasters is a public speaking club. All right, you go there to become a better public speaker. And when you go there, somebody is assigned during every Toastmasters meeting to count the number of filler words that each person uses. Every 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 you know, every so, all those words. The first time I went to the Toastmasters meeting, all I did was introduce myself. It took about 1.5 minutes. I think I said, you know, 12 times. In every Toastmasters meeting, 3 or so people give a speech, and 3 other people give an evaluation of that speech. They tell the person what they did well and what they didn't do so well, and that's how we learn. So, you want to become a better speaker? Go to Toastmasters. Are we supposed to say, well, it's all about them, that's all the way they view the world? Well, it is, but maybe there's something there for me. We don't have to reject all of the criticism. We get to decide what we want to accept and what we don't want to accept. That's the key. Is there something useful about it? Well, yeah, I am so happy that I don't, and you are probably happy too, that I'm not up here saying, you know, after every other sentence. You would be tired. It's like not telling somebody they have something between their teeth when you're sitting across from them at dinner. Like, don't you want to know? You dropped something on your shirt? Like, don't you want to know? Renee tells me all the time, your hair's sticking up in the back. Don't you want to know? Well, yeah, but you decide. You want to leave the parsley between your teeth? Go ahead. You know, it's okay. But when we stay out of the emotion of it, then we can decide if we're going to accept that criticism or not. You know, we don't have to let it poison us. We can decide, am I going to consider all of it, none of it, or some of it? What are you going to do? It's up to you. Because you know who you are, because you have enough confidence in yourself that you can look at that and say, nah, or, yeah, right? You decide. You decide. Maybe you had a crappy day. You know, maybe you didn't get enough sleep. Maybe you've been sick. And your behavior wasn't very kind. And somebody calls you out on it. What are you going to do? You know, it's not about taking the poison. It's about saying, yeah, you know what? You're right. I could have done better. That's it. You have to hang on to it. Either way, it doesn't have to poison your mind. Maybe someone is interested in giving you a comment because they care about you and they see the potential in you that you don't see. And they point something out to you so that, and you're like so grateful that they did. Maybe not in that moment, but it doesn't have to be poison. If you are in the place of accepting that as a possibility and not as poison, changes the whole thing. Are you hearing what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. You stand in some clarity. If we stand in clarity, I guess, then we can be okay with ourselves. We know who we are. We know, for instance, that I am not the worst thing I ever did. I'm not. I've done some things I'm not so proud of, But it's not the only, he talks about in the first chapter, I didn't even review it, is how many times do we have to pay for the same mistake? How often do we judge ourselves for the same thing over and over and over and over again? We don't have to do that. We can do it once and be done, if that's appropriate. All right? Let me read something else here. Yeah, don't have to be afraid of criticism. Just have to decide if it's useful to you or not. We have a choice whether or not to believe the voices we hear within our own minds, just as we have the choice of what to believe and agree with in the dream of the planet. We have a choice. We have a choice with that. You have to trust yourself and choose to believe or not believe what someone says to you. It really is that simple, and it is a practice. You choose without the emotion of it, without poisoning my own self or spewing poison out into the world. Both are true. Both are essential. Here's what Ruiz suggests. Write this agreement on paper and put it on your refrigerator to remind you all the time. Don't take anything personally. As you make a habit of not taking anything personally, you won't need to place your trust in what others do or say. You will only need to trust yourself to make responsible choices. You are never responsible for the actions of others, Miss Tu included. I'm not responsible for her actions. What she believes, what's in her book, it's none of my business. You are only responsible for you. When you truly understand this and refuse to take things personally, you can hardly be hurt by the careless or casual comments or actions of others. That, my friends, is true freedom. That is true freedom. The second agreement is, don't take anything personally. So let's take a moment and take that into meditation this morning. So take a deep breath in and settle into your chair. To remind you of the first agreement first, which is to be impeccable with your word, to not use the word against yourself. This is not about judgment and using it against yourself from where you've come so far. And then out of that, to be reminded all the time that no matter what, even the things that feel very personal, that feel very like poison dart arrows to your heart, to practice reminding yourself that that has nothing to do with you. That the opinions and words of others are theirs. What they carry in their book, in their belief system. And while they might sting for a moment, the more that we practice this truth, the quicker we will be to dislodge that arrow and come back to love. So let's sit for just a few moments together in meditation this morning. close this time together with this reading from Young Pueblo. It is easier to let go of someone's opinion of you when you understand that others see you through a combination of their past conditioning and their current emotional state. Without realizing it, they see themselves first, and through that lens, they get an unclear picture of you. Amen.
You can handle the hard things. You can weather the storm when the going gets tough. You can go onwards, breathe with the pain, breathe with the sorrow when it seems too late. There's still tomorrow. When the days are dark and the storms set in, and you've got no coat to hold you. When the winds howl loud, trees shake to their roots, who will come to the rescue? When you're far from home, you're never alone. Look inside your heart. You can handle the hard things. You can weather the storm when the going gets tough. You can go onwards, breathe with the pain, breathe with the sorrow when it seems too late. There's still tomorrow. When the path's overgrown with roots and bramble, and you've got no shoes to cross it, each cut and bruise, blood red and violet, can you take one step more? When you're caught in the maze, it's been days and days, you can always find your start. You can handle the hard things. You can weather the storm when the going gets tough. You can go onwards, breathe with the pain, breathe with the sorrow when it seems too late. There's still tomorrow, and the ocean's too vast. You're adrift in the blue. Who'll find you when the waves crash down and salt water chills? Who will warm your weary bones when you're far from home? It take much more. There's a north star shining bright. You can handle the hard things. You can weather the storms when the going gets tough. You can go onwards, breathe with the pain, breathe with the sorrow when it seems too late. You can handle the hard things. You can handle the storms when the going gets tough. You can go onwards, breathe with the pain, oh, breathe with the sorrow when it seems too late. There's still tomorrow.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all be well. May all be peaceful and at